Hi guys, my name's Christina. I'm Mark's sister, if you don't know who I am. Unfortunately, I let my bad college habits get the best of me, and I maybe wrote this morning, but it's fine. It's hopefully not terrible. Before what I wrote, Mark and I have always been super close growing up. My main memory of us when we were little was playing G.I. Joe and Barbie in his bedroom because he wasn't going to play with Barbies, but I wasn't going to play with whatever he was playing with, so that's what we settled on. But what I really wanted to talk about was the struggle that Mark's dealt with for the last couple years, and I know he didn't want to make that the focus of the wedding, and I know Dad touched on it a bit, just a little bit. But I was trying to think of what to talk about, and that just kept coming to my mind because even though it's sad, I don't think that it's necessarily, I don't want to talk about it in a sad light because so much obviously good has come from it. So when I was thinking of what I should share, I figured I would probably have to share a Bible verse because that's just fitting. So I was thinking about Genesis 50 verse 20, which says, "As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." And I don't know if you guys know the context of that verse, but basically Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery and told their father that he had died. He believed them and was obviously very sad about it. And in the meantime, Joseph was in Egypt and he became basically second to the Pharaoh, and he was super great, what he was doing. And then a famine struck and his brothers had to come to Egypt to find food, and they met him and they were like, "Oh, you're a brother, okay, that's crazy, we sent you off and now you're successful." And this verse comes a little bit later after Jacob, their father, died. So they were scared. Once Jacob died, they were like, "Oh crap, now Joseph's gonna be really mad at us now that Dad's gone, he's gonna really have it out for us or whatever." So they came to him and they were really scared, and that's how he responded to them. He said "I know you guys meant it for evil, but God meant it for good." And then the verse finishes by saying, "To bring it about that many people should be kept alive." So with your headaches, obviously no one did anything to you, but it seems for the last 10 years or so that it's been for the worse. But I just wanted to shed some light on how it's been so good, not only for you, but for so many people around you, because it's really affected us all positively in ways that we don't even know now, but have known, has become clear over the last couple years. And for the last part of that verse, to bring it about that many people should be kept alive, I thought that was special because you aren't literally keeping people alive by feeding them during a famine like Joseph was, but you feed so many people's souls, and you bring so many people life just by the type of person you are, and stuff like that. So in speeches, I think you're supposed to have 3 points, so I thought of 3 different places where we've seen that your hardships with your head have shown up for good. So the first was with our family. So growing up, when this was all going on, in school, whenever we had to write about big things that have happened in our lives that have affected us, it was, I know Anna's done this too, we've talked about it, instead of writing about things that in our own personal lives that happened, we always wrote about you and wrote about how you influenced us, and watching you day to day deal with that so gracefully has been such a positive influence on us. And walking through my time at Biola with volleyball and stuff, and I think having you as a role model to deal with all that pain has been really cool for me to see, so that I could walk through it with more, just walk through it better than I could have if I didn't have you as a role model. And I think also just how you've been able to stay at home, which I know you obviously would have wanted to go off to school, but I think our family has become such a more tight unit just because we've all been home and been able to spend time together and have grown together and spent time crying together and being upset about what's going on, but I think that's brought us all closer. And I think we always talk about how it's forced us to grow up a little bit more, and you don't focus on things that typical high school students focus on when you come home and or can't even leave the house. Or Anna and I come home and you're sitting there in pain all the time. So I think that it's just had us all grow up a lot faster and like just be more mature in that way. And then second point is how amazing, absolutely amazing you are at taking care of other people. Not only Carly, which I'll get to later, but with respite care and the boys that you take care of. Like, I've spent time with you and the guys that you hang out with, and like you do things that like I was taught in my college classes to do that you just do naturally, and it's like really impressive to see. And just the way that you talk to people and like make them feel so loved and appreciated is just like really special. So that's just been really cool to see, and something that you probably wouldn't have found your way into if this wasn't how your life went. And lastly, obviously it brought you to Carly, which Dad talked about a little bit. So we all know that we don't know that if you hadn't been on this journey that you probably wouldn't have met Carly and we wouldn't be here today. And sorry, Carly, I've left you out a little bit, but it's just been really cool the last couple of years being able to get really close to you and getting letters from you that like we're super close and that we're best friends, because that just means a lot to me. And I had those up in my room at school a lot. And so yeah, it's just been really, really cool to have such a good friend in you, and to be able to do so many things together. And we're kind of like the same person, so it's just really special. And it's been really cool seeing you find Carly, and we all knew how we were planning on life to go with looking for houses that had room for you to like stay there by yourself and for it to go completely differently. And now that you guys have each other and we don't have to figure out what's going to happen when you're at home alone and we're all doing other stuff. So it's just been really special. And then Carly, obviously you're just like the coolest person ever, so makes it even more special that we have such a good relationship with you. And it was the most amazing thing when Mark brought you home and all of a sudden we were obsessed with each other. Just every time I came home, Carly would like squeal with joy. And I'm excited now to live at home and be closer to you guys and be over at your house way too much and all that stuff. So I love you guys a lot, and I'm excited to watch how the next stage of your life goes. So, thank you.